Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 293. Good morning, everybody. I decided to come to y'all at 6:30 this morning. I got a couple of different things I wanted to try out. I wanted to come to y'all at 6:30, try to do, first, talk about Dan Bongino because he's back. Which is awesome. And then two is I got to practice on how to do a raid. So at 7 o'clock on Central Time, I in the morning I always listen to Chad Prather on Before the Noise. So I'm going to try to raid into his podcast this morning at 7 o'clock Central. So I'm already set up for that. And third, I want to gauge on trying to do some type of morning report along with the JP8 report. So to be able to come to y'all in like a Monday morning rundown with like breaking news and what happened overnight. And then when I get off the air, start prepping for the next podcast, which would be at 12 o'clock as it is right now, right? So that is why I am on at 6:30 this morning when the sun is down, the dogs are barking outside, and the cat is meowing across the house, and I can hear her. All right, so I feel like I'm on a farm, and I already let the chickens out before I came on the air. So thank y'all very much for tuning in this morning and giving me a chance to talk to y'all for a few minutes before our day gets going hot and heavy, and we get a little bit of a, like I said, I listen to Chad Prather in the morning, so that's a good thing for y'all to do. So at the end of the podcast at 7 o'clock, which is 28 minutes from now, I'll raid over to his podcast, okay? So welcome to the JP8 Report. If you are not a follower of the JP8 Report, please do so. Click that follow button, and then right next to it is a thumbs up. That's a like. Please like it, and if you want to, please share or even subscribe to the JP8 Report. And we are live right now on YouTube and Facebook, and I thought we are live on X also. So thank you all, everyone, very much for tuning in this morning. I really appreciate it. I know we're going to have a lot more viewers after the podcast than during the live because it's, like I said, it's 6:30 in the morning, but that's okay. We can work that out. If Chad can get several thousand at 7 o'clock, I can get a few hundred eventually at 6:30. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. All right. And then, so I have, and I'll try to do an America 250 in the morning if I do continue this format. But I will always try to do America 250. So as of right now, I have a letter from General Washington to Pierre Van Cortlandt. He is one of the founding fathers of the United States. He was a New York assemblyman from, I believe, 1868 onward, and he was the lieutenant governor of the state of New York. All right. Sir, having undoubted intelligence on the fitting out of a fleet at Boston and the embarkation of troops from thence, which from the season of the year and other circumstances must be destined for some expeditions south of this, and having such information as I can rely on, that the inhabitants of Long Island in your government, or a great part of them, are not only in mystical to the rights and liberties of America, but by their conduct and professions have discovered an apparent inclination to lend a helping hand to subjugate their fellow citizens to a ministerial tyranny. There is the greatest reason that I believe that this armament if not designed immediately against the city of New York, is nevertheless intended for Long Island. I have therefore thought it expedient to dispatch Major General Lee with such volunteers as he can quickly assemble on his march, for I have not the troops to spare from hence, if the distance and time would admit it, to put the city of New York in the best posture of defense the season and circumstances will admit of. To his instructions, which I have desired him to lay before you, I beg leave to refer, firmly persuaded that your honorable body will give in every assistance in their power to facilitate the end of his coming, as there needs no other argument than a retrospective review of the conduct of the ministerial troops in Boston and consequences resulting from it, to prove what a fatal stab it would give to the interests of America to suffer the city of New York to fall in the hands of our enemies. I am, etc. George Washington. So he wrote that Pierre Van Corten on the 8th of January, 1776. All right. So, and if my monitor turns off, I'm still battling that thing. It turned off on me a while ago. I do not know how to keep that thing from moving on to hibernation mode. All right. So the next thing is we need to talk about since it's Thursday, the Dalmatians. The Dalmatians are smash burgers. They're in Copper's Cove. They make hot dogs too. All their ingredients are fresh, and they're homemade, including their buns. They are open Tuesdays through Saturday, 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7, and they're located on the west side of Copper's Cove, in behind Bush's Chicken. And then I always like to get the armadillo burger. I love that thing. It's really good. If you've never had a burger with raspberry jam on it, you need to try it. All right. So if you're not in the Cove, you're not in Texas, that's a good thing to try to put on a burger. It may be a Texas thing. I don't know. I did get breaking news from them yesterday afternoon. They changed their hours. So normally they're closed on Mondays. They are going to start opening only for lunch on Monday from 11 to 2. And then from Tuesday through Saturday, it'll be 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7 unless they sell out. All right? So I guess they're kowtowing to the lunch hour rush that everybody wants them to be open for lunch, because you may not know, but these guys are located in that shopping center. But right next to them, there's a call center and a VA treatment center. So they get plenty of customers that come in there all the time. All right. So that's the Dalmatian guys. Onward to the next thing. Bongino. So yesterday morning, I was listening to Graham Allen. Graham Allen said, hey, so all y'all know, Bongino is going to be on the Hayley show on the Bongino Report channel. And I did say that on my podcast yesterday at 12 too, but that's where I heard it. And boy, the whole day I was waiting for Hayley's show, The Nightly Scroll, to come on Rumble. And here we go, 5 o'clock. I looked at the views, because you can look at the views. Like right now, I have 6 live viewers right now. Okay, Mox next. It's 6:30 in the morning Central Time right now. But I signed on that thing about 5 minutes till, and the viewer numbers were ramping up already. I'm like, this is crazy. And she signed on at 5 o'clock, and it ramped up to 50,000 I mean, this girl on her live show usually gets about 5 to 10,000 viewers on a live show, right? Which is good. It's awesome numbers, right? She's staring at 50,000 people, and everyone wants to see Dan Bongino, and even me, right? And I think I wrote in the chat, he's back. This is awesome. And there was a lot of trolls on it too. Evidently, their trolls don't go away. But man, she started doing her podcast, and it looked like she was just holding back because I guess to build anticipation that Dan Bongino was going to come out. So about I think it was about 5:30, about 5:30ish. She's talking, and all of a sudden she looks over her right, and all of a sudden there's this guy that walks behind her with the sports coat on and starts taking mementos off of her. There's a bookcase back here, and he started looking at mementos, and he turned, and you could see Dan Bongino's face because they panned the camera back just a little bit, and he said, "Hey, Guy, do you remember this?" And 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 he sits down and starts talking to her, and he says, "Hey, is this my original microphone from when I left in March?" And he starts talking about that, and then he said, "Hey, I still have my original microphone from the first podcast. I used to. I threw mine away. I can't believe it. It died on me." And then he's like, "Maybe we need to auction that off for charity and donate all the money that we get from the auction of that microphone to charity." It was like, that is an awesome, great idea. And I bet that thing would go for thousands of dollars, right? And they sit there and talk. I learned, I've heard the term serious as a heart attack many times growing up, all the time, right? And he used the phrase serious as a stroke yesterday. I about fell out when I heard that. He was talking about dark pillars and all these trolls and TDS people. People just need to go away because they're destroying the MAGA movement. They're destroying everything that the president is trying to do, and they claim to be Republicans. And he is going to be so great. Even Chris from Rumble was in the chat while Dan Bongino was on air yesterday. But after he came on the air, the numbers from the viewers jumped from about 50,000 all the way to 83,000 people were on the air watching him on Hayley's show yesterday. Unbelievable. So this podcast usually averages in the neighborhood of 50 to 100. And I'd like it to be a lot higher. I don't know what viewership is going through Rumble and stuff. I know we could all do better, right? So he did announce that there will be a press release on Rumble Monday that he is coming back and that he will be back. He said very early February, his podcast will be back Monday through Friday, and that it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. All right, so if you're in the Central Time Zone, like us great people in Texas, that'll be from 9 to 11, right? He did not say anything about Vince. Vince Connolly's is awesome, but there's going to be something that he's going to accommodate Vince Connolly's with. And I can't wait to see it because I love listening to Vince also. And he, Vince even admitted last week or a week and a half ago that this audience is not his, it's Dan's. He inherited it when he started the podcast, which is true, right? But he is such a natural on camera that there's no way Dan will let him go. He's got to keep him in the Silverlock and give him another time slot. And if Dan Bongino is going to do a 2-hour podcast, he will be totally worn out to do a 3-hour radio show also. So what I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, uh, if you know something and you're on here and you can chat it in, I'd say Dan does the podcast from 9 to 11, or from 10 to 12. Let Vince do the radio show from 12 to 3 and be a backfill for Dan if he needs time off on his podcast. Or uh, after the radio show, do a 1 hour podcast for Vince, or have Vince come in from 8 to 9, um, and then raid into the Dan Bongino show. I mean, anything can happen. I think that'd be pretty good. I cannot wait till Monday because I can speculate all I want, but I'm pretty sure that Dan Bongino's already got what he's going to do, and I bet Hayley knows it. I bet Vince knows it. I bet Chris at Rumble knows it too. So we'll all find out then. Yeah, but that is going to be really, really, man, I cannot wait. I am a P1 listener. I'm wearing a Dan Bongino shirt right now from his podcast. I did yesterday also. That man, I listen to a lot of people on Rumble, but he is number one uno right there. He is it. I mean, I am a P1 from years of listening to Dan Bongino. He's one of the reasons why I started this. I mean, I'm not anywhere even close to his caliber, but he is why I started doing this, the JP8 report. But can't wait. So Monday, there's going to be a press release through Rumble about the Dan Bongino show, and I cannot wait. And who knows? On Vince this morning, he did say that he will do an interview on Vince. So it's got to be the day or tomorrow, because Monday is going to be the press release. So he could do it on Monday during the press release, or do it the day and tomorrow. Who knows? We'll find out really quick. We'll find it real fast. So with that being said, we'll go into the JP8 report. And so what do I got here? I got 13 minutes to cover some stories. I got 2 stories that we all know about Minneapolis, and I will go into Minneapolis. But first, in Maryland, Steny Hoyer, he's a Democrat. He is the Democrat whip, I believe. He's been in Congress 44 years, and he's 86 years old. Another old, decrepit congressman that refuses to retire, right? Well, he finally announced that he's retiring, and he will retire in January at the close of the 119th Congress. I don't know what part of Maryland he's from, but he's probably in a safe Democrat seat. So he'll leave and another Democrat take his place, unless we get a good, strong Republican that can get in there and win his district from them. I would love to see that. But these days, these congressmen in their 70s and 80s, they've got 20, 25 years under their belt as a congressman. It's time to move on and let a younger Republican take their place. All right. I hope I didn't go on too much of a tangent this morning on that, but a spade is a spade. And then yesterday afternoon, I think it was before my podcast. Let me see here real quick. The TV's still on. Watch it go off. Let's see here. Oh, Cat wants in the room. I'm not letting her in. Nope, it was not on my podcast yesterday. Okay, so yesterday afternoon, there was a shooting in Minneapolis. There were some ICE officers from Department of Homeland Security. They were out doing their job, and they were on a mission, and they were being tailed by antagonizers and rioters up and down the streets and yelling and cursing, because I saw the videos themselves. And some lady, she T-boned her car in front of the procession of ICE vehicles, and the ICE officers had to dismount, and they told her to get out of her vehicle because she was impeding the progress of law enforcement activities, officers. And then one officer tried to open up her door, and she lunged her car forward, and there was a officer in front of her. He was contacted by the vehicle. He pulled his weapon, discharged it twice, and killed her. Okay, it was completely justified from everything I saw, and they had been reported that a little bit later that lady had been stalking their procession of officers for over 2 blocks and decided to block them. Okay, she shouldn't have done that. Prayers to her family, but she should not have done that. And it just tailspinned after that. Governor Walz made a statement, and it just tailspinned from there, using curse words and accusing law enforcement officers of murder and all kinds of. This is really unbelievable. So I got three things I'm going to read before I sign off for this morning. Okay. So I'm going to read about the lady that was killed. Right. City leaders have identified the woman killed during immigration customs enforcement operation in Minneapolis Wednesday as Renee Nicole Good, 37 years old, and federal and local officials offered sharply different accounts of the shooting. Video shows video, okay? The fatal shooting occurred during an ICE enforcement operation in South Minneapolis, according to the Department of Homeland Security, which said agents were attempting to make arrests when Good tried to use her vehicle as a weapon against officers, prompting a federal agent to fire in self-defense. Her vehicle hit him. Good was pronounced dead after being struck by gunfire. The agent involved has not been publicly identified, and the incident remains under investigation. Members of the Minneapolis City Council confirmed Good's identity in a joint statement Wednesday, calling her a member of our community and demanded that ICE leave the city. This morning, an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Nicole Good, a member of our community. The statement said, anyone kills someone in our city deserves to be arrested, investigated, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The council members said they support Minneapolis' immigrant community and accused federal immigration authorities of bringing chaos and violence to the city and vowing to work with state partners to protect residents. And she was 37 years old. She was a mom. She evidently was LBGT, because a lady right after that said, I made her do it. My wife is dead because I made her do it. And so evidently this Nicole lady was an LBGT person. It never fails with that community. It just keeps tail spinning, right? And vicious, vindictive attacks by that community upon everybody else that has a conservative stance in our government. They hate us. So that was that one right there. And Jacob Fry, he's the 3-term mayor of the city of Minneapolis. Matter of fact, he just got sworn in for his 3rd term. Jacob Frey, the Democrat Minneapolis mayor who told federal investigations authorities Wednesday to get the blank out of the city following the fatal shooting of a woman by a federal immigration officer, has been the forefront of pushing back against the Trump administration deportation efforts. Earlier this week, DHS said authorities were conducting the operation when rioters began blocking ICE vehicles. The driver of one of the vehicles attempted to weaponize her vehicle and hit law enforcement officers in what they described as an act of domestic terrorism. And then they quotes him again and said, "Get the blank out of Minneapolis." He said during a news conference, "We don't want you here. You stated your stated reason is to bring the city for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you're doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart." Frey also called DHS statement that the shooting happened in self-defense garbage. He's the so-called Mamdani of Minneapolis. Yeah, really? Oh no, he beat the Mamdani of Minneapolis, Omar Fadish, and he also said we're keeping our eye on ICE. They're not part of the community. They're illegal aliens, and they need to be deported. They were given the opportunity to resolve this and to go forward and go back to their country and get it reimbursed, and they turned it down. They're criminals in our country, and they need to leave. So get out of the way and let the federal government do the job that President Otto Penn and his cronies wouldn't do in the first place, and let us get our country back to normal the way it's supposed to be. And one quick thing before I sign off, because it's almost 7 o'clock, and I'll make this one really fast. This is from Christy Nome. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him, and my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show that the assaults on our ICE officers and law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers, and in coordination with other law enforcement agencies as well. You see me in the last couple of days deploy over 2,000 more officers to the Minneapolis area, and in the last 2 days we've arrested hundreds and hundreds of dangerous criminals, not just fraudsters who stole from the American people billions of dollars and put it in their pockets and enriched their friends from overseas and themselves, but also individuals who committed acts of murder and rape and trafficking and drug exploitation and child exploitation. And there's more to this. I'm going to go over more of this later on during the regular podcast, right? Right now, because we're at 8:59. So thank y'all very much for everyone that tuned in today so far. I'm going to be back in 6 hours as it is. Got some stuff to do, and then I'll be back. And hopefully this turns out. I want to see what the results are on like this and see how this rate is. All right. So let me do what time is it? It's almost there. All right. So this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I will catch you on the flip side. And I'm out for 5 more hours, and I'll be back. All right. Thank y'all very much. And I'm going to start doing the raid right now. Let's see. All right. I just rated in the chat Prather. Oh, that is so cool. All right. So y'all have a great day. I'm out.